Hi, hello, and welcome to Capricorn Venus Tarot. I'm Capricorn Venus. So today we're going to do the next one on my little poll that I gave in the community tab, which is what about you makes people insecure? And I felt like we should do this one just because it can be helpful. It can be helpful to know what's causing this, and so that you don't blame yourself also. It's good to do these kind of things because it's a helpful reminder that everything that somebody sees about you is really just a reflection of themselves. And people interact with you based on how they interact with themselves and with other people. So other things at play, and I think we can tap into some of that here in this reading. So we've got 4 piles. I already picked a card for each. In the Lay Vampire deck, I love these Lucy Cavendish illustration decks. Yeah, so I've got 4 piles here. Pile number 1, we've got the rose quartz. Pile 2, we have jade. Pile 3, we have the blue calcites, and pile 4 with our serpentine. Getting the urge to tell you that the first stone I got of these is actually the rose quartz here. Always have loved rose quartz. And then I also got this blue calcite pretty early on. And then the jade I got all alone. The rose quartz and the blue calcite I got pretty close together. The jade I just felt really drawn to one time when I was traveling in my state, but still traveling. And then the serpentine I just recently got this summer while I was at a festival. They had little booths set up and she was calling to me. So go ahead and pick your pile, and I will see you in there. Okay. Pile number 1. Let's go ahead and pull you some cards first. What about pile number 1 makes people insecure or so insecure? What about pile 1 makes people so insecure? What about pile 1 makes people so insecure? Wow. Okay. Well, I would say something that makes people very insecure about you already is the obviously large support that you have from those around you. There's something where, so what makes people insecure about you doesn't have to be true, so just keep that in mind, but there's something where you got a family without even asking for it. Like maybe you have like a good relationship with your family, or even just one of your parents or something like that. And that makes people really insecure because, you know, childhood wounds run deep, right? And I have been known to be jealous of somebody with a good relationship with their mom. I'm not above it, pile 1. So I'm seeing that that can happen with you. If you have a good relationship with one of your parents, or with your family at large, or you've created, I'm seeing separately from the family bit, because I got the 10 of Pentacles and it came out in the reverse, and how that I take that is like you just have it, or else that's how people perceive it, is like you just have a good relationship with your family. You didn't have to build it, you didn't have to create it yourself. It's more like it was thrust upon you and you were just lucky that way. That's how people perceive it anyway. It doesn't have to be true. But yeah. This could be that you have a sibling as well. That's another thing. Like, I feel like if you have a sibling that you guys get along really well, or like a best friend from childhood, or something to that effect, that makes people insecure because they're like, well, why don't I have people lingering from my past? You know, like, why is it that pile one gets people from their childhood and I had to leave everyone behind? Or why is it that pile one was just born into a family that actually liked them, you know, or that they got along with? I feel like that's where some of the insecurity can play in. And then we've got the Three of Cups, and that just came out upright, obviously. So I'm seeing that as more like your friend group. So on top of the fact that you've got this amazing family connection in some way, you also have great friendships, and you know how to have fun, and you're like a blast, like you're a good time, and people like you on a friendship level as well. So even new people you're meeting, they're liking you too. So it makes people insecure that not only do you have people from your past that just like came along with you, you also are constantly making new friends, and everybody new that you meet is loving you and having a blast. So it makes these people even more insecure because they're like, okay, well, I could have maybe been jealous that they were born in a good family, but been like, okay, well, their family has to stick with them. But I can't even say that because new people come around them all the time. You pile one, I'm saying. So yeah, I'm seeing that you invite a lot of fun around you, a lot of fun energy. People want to invite you out places. And I think this makes other people insecure because they're seeing that lack in themselves. They're like, okay, not only maybe do I not have these good past connections, but also maybe I'm just not fun. Like, I think the fact that you're such a good time makes people insecure. Like, they start to worry if they can entertain the people around them. I feel like maybe you're just such a good host. That's another thing. I'm getting people who might be insecure that you are such a good host. They might feel like if it was up to them, things would not have gone as smoothly. Could even be that they went to a party that you had and they had such a good time, but then when they had a party, it wasn't as good. So then that makes them insecure towards you, you know, like you're the catalyst for that insecurity. So, okay. What about pile one makes people insecure? Starting off strong. Okay, I'm also seeing that, wow, you're just a blast, pile one. And a lot of people want your company. So I feel like that is what is making people insecure about you, is everybody wants your company, people that you know from childhood, new people you're meeting today on a friend level, and also romantic suitors. And what I'm getting is you are not putting any effort into people pursuing you romantically, and yet it's really happening for you. And again, this is just how it's perceived. Maybe behind the scenes you're putting in effort, maybe. But what I'm getting is that people are romanticizing you and thinking about you. Oh, and we did get the rose quartz. Almost forgot about that. Romanticizing you, thinking about you, you know, holding on to pictures of you, imagining scenarios with you, and you don't even know these people. Like, you don't even know that this is happening. So I think that makes people insecure because they're like, am I coming off desperate? You know, these are these people that are insecure, like, towards you, if that makes sense. They're like, am I coming off desperate? Pile one never seems to want anyone, and yet people are falling at their feet. You know, what is it about me that is not as desirable as pile one? So, I mean, hopefully they can heal that, you know, and maybe they can see that. I think, yeah, there's something about this sweetness and this fun attitude that you have. Maybe, okay, so this is an example to like more girl culture, but I think it can be applicable to lots of scenarios. So, like, this is kind of I'm getting like more of like a pick-me energy of they believe that the best way to get male attention or male validation is to kind of be like almost a negative Nancy, like somebody who is like, oh, I don't like the mainstream things. I don't like the cool stuff. You know, I'm really underground. I don't like parties. I like to stay home, you know, and they feel that that's the way to get opposite gender, you know, people towards you. And you're showing them how untrue that is, and it's making them insecure because maybe they've framed their whole life around it. I don't know. Who are these people? Yeah, maybe they have some sort of framing. I'm getting that you make people insecure because you live in a way that is very against the frame from which they view things. Something about you proves their way of doing things wrong because you're just out here having so much fun. I just see you as a person who's really fun, who sees the world through rose-colored glasses, and yet has stability, and yet has fun, and yet has romantic prospects. Okay. What about pile number 1 makes people insecure? What about pile number 1 makes people insecure? This is your different way of doing things, and you're so strict in your way of doing things. I feel like you just have this, you have this way of looking at the world, and you practice what you preach. You give a lot of advice to other people, and it always works out. I think this is what's making people insecure, is they're questioning their own intelligence. They're questioning their own set of beliefs because yours is so effective. Yep. Okay. So, rebellion, upstart, tumult, revolution, and the number is 33. I'm getting a lot of things. So something that could make people insecure about you could also be related to like race or culture or something like that. So apply it how it resonates. What do you mean by that? Like, oh man. They feel afraid to speak around you because there's something about you that gives off this vibe to these people like they're wrong. What makes people insecure about you? One is this sense that they get that they're wrong. When they're around you, they just get this overwhelming sense that they're on the wrong side of history, or they're on the wrong side. Because over on your side, you get to have a good time and still receive all the things that they want. So it's like your goals to these people that are insecure about you are similar. Have fun, have friends, have family, long-standing relationships, commitments, people wanting you, desiring you in a sexual sense too. But your way of thinking about how to go about that is so opposite, and that's what's making people insecure about you, okay? But you're not afraid also. Like, you don't live a fear-based life. You live a very direct life where you have a philosophy about things, and you're not afraid of conflict. You're willing to put up a fight for what you believe in. And these people are very afraid, and they live inside the rules. But it's like you live outside of the rules, and yet you still get the rewards that the rules are supposed to give you. Okay? What makes people insecure about pile 1? Okay. Yeah, you make friends really quickly, too, is another thing. Like, I feel like you're just quick with it. You're very smart, witty, funny, lighthearted, on to the next kind of vibes from you, pile 1. I think that's what makes people insecure about you. You're very on to the next. You're very always pushing forward. You're not a person who hesitates. It's a lot about fear. I feel like basically what makes people insecure about themselves with you, pile 1, is that they realize how like fear-based their life is, and then they kind of resent you a little bit because you don't seem very fearful, and yet you're achieving everything, and you haven't fallen into any pitfalls according to them. This is just their perspective, and that's what they should realize, but whatever. You're the one watching the video, so gotta talk to you. What about pile 1 makes people insecure? Four of Pentacles. Okay. And it's not fleeting. Like, there's something else too. I feel like what else makes people insecure about you, pile 1, is that they kind of feel like it should be a fleeting crush that people are having on you, but people really hold on to it. Like, as if they're going about their lives trying to be wifey, and you seem to be a very careless, free for all kind of person, rebellious, not wifey, and yet people are really wanting to kind of hold you down, and they want a long-term commitment with you, and it's very confusing for these people that are insecure about you. I feel like you make people insecure about their life choices, if they're going to be able to accomplish their goals, how they can have attention while you're around, basically. I feel like because you form friendships so quickly, everyone has a crush on you and it lasts. It's like things go quickly and move quickly for you, and yet it also lasts, is what I keep getting. So they're kind of like the slow, and I think people that are insecure about you are the slow and steady type that feel like, oh, the only way that I can make something that lasts is if I take forever and I just wait for my opportunity and I don't take chances so that I can like have this stable foundation. And you're a person who shows them that you can be risky and you can put yourself out there and you can move quickly and try new things and go on adventures, and still those relationships that you make along the way, they can last. They can still last. Hasty decisions can still last. Look at pregnancy. That'll still last. And it's a hasty decision, right? For some, this is just an example, but you get my kind of funny point there, is like, even hasty decisions can result in long-term consequences. And that can be good and bad. So yeah, I think that's what's mostly making people insecure about you, pile 1, is that they're just seeing all that you have and all that they don't have. And they're seeing how you accomplished it, and it's not making sense to them. They feel wrong when they're in your presence. They feel like they're always going to step on a tripwire with you. Maybe you know a lot about politics, or you are very smart, or something like that. That's making them insecure. Like, that's just like a baseline insecurity. I feel like probably a lot of people feel a little dumb in your presence. So I feel like your intellect is a huge thing that makes people insecure. But also, yeah, all that you have. All the friends you have, how you seem to, that phrase again, have it in you, not on you. It's like, no matter what, you'd always be able to start fresh because of this contagious energy that you have. Like, even if you move to a new city, these people that feel insecure around you, they think you'd fit right in, and you'd be able to make a whole new group of friends, and you'd be able to create a whole new foundation that would last. And they don't feel the same way about themselves. They feel like they really rely on things that were given to them from a young age. Another example could be that they can only hang around their family, and they don't feel like they'd be very good at making lifelong friends. Like, they don't see how you could make found family because that seems so impossible to them. That's an example. I feel like these people also that are insecure about you, like, they're just very conservative in their thinking. They're very like straightforward traditionalists. I feel like a lot of traditionalists are really insecure about you because it's very easy to hate on the hippy dippy types when you're conservative. I'm not, but I'm saying, like, just roll with me. When you're conservative, it's so easy to hate on the hippy dippy types because you're like, well, you don't have a family, and you don't have an income, and you don't have a stable community around you. But then when a conservative type meets someone who has a stable family, has a stable job, can pay for their life, goes on trips but still is like very fiscally responsible or something, it's harder for them to hate on them, and it makes them insecure. Like, you don't have the easy things to hate on, even though you are a rebellious kind of person. They're just not able to easily discredit you. That's what it is. They can't discredit you, and it's making them insecure about their own beliefs and their own belief system. It's kind of crumbling in your presence because your whole demeanor goes against what they think. So let's roll the dice. What about pile 1 makes people insecure? Your love of travel. You're very open-minded. You're always learning. That's another thing. Yeah, you have things. Like, there's something, because Taurus is 2, and also the second house is all about, like, your physical possessions, as well as, like, it's one of the many... It's one of the many houses that can talk about the home, but it is one that talks about the home. So there's something about your stability and just the luxuries that you have in your life, and friendships are luxuries. Going out with your girlies for brunch, that's a luxury. Having a long-term partner, that's a luxury. Having people crush on you is more like the fun, flirty side. But you see what I mean by stability and luxuries? You have some sort of something that is really appealing to these people, and it makes them insecure because they would like to doubt you because of your rebellious, creative, fresh, young vibes. But then you have all that you have. So, and then pile 1, and also number 1 is Aries. Aries is a beginner. And so this actually makes so much sense with the 8 of Wands. I feel like it's almost clarifying the 8 of Wands, which is you're like a go, go, go kind of person also. On top of all these other things, like, you are ambitious, and you're a person who starts ventures, goes after what you want, is on top of things, so on top of everything else that you have. So I feel like these are the main things that make people insecure about you. Let's see if I miss anything. I'm going to pull a couple oracles. Okay. What am I missing? What about pile 1 makes people insecure? I feel like people also really love the way you do your makeup. And if not that, then like the coloring that you're coloring is very beautiful. Yeah, because it's like the combination of your skin tone, your hair, and your eyes. Maybe you have, like brown eyes are a regular color of eye, right? But if it matches just perfectly with your hair color, there's something about that where you're like more than the sum of your parts. Like, something about you all together is just very striking. Okay. You're also like I said, you're a very cheerful, outgoing, fun kind of person. But I think another thing that makes people insecure about you is people are very allowant when you're in kind of a mood. Like, if you're in a bad mood, people don't take it as hard as they might with somebody else. And I feel like that makes people insecure. They feel like they don't have as much leeway as you do. Okay. But that might, again, that kind of ties back into them being more on the conservative side, because that's just kind of what they think is like, oh, well, they have it easier than me, It's kind of the vibe. What about pile 1 makes people insecure? Yeah. You've broken free from something. You've broken free from something that other people think you shouldn't be able to break free from. And that's what makes them insecure. And you don't have to be as fake as other people. Again, these are perceptions, and even in the phrasing, you can tell it's a projection. You don't have to be as fake as other people. I mean, that's kind of an untrue statement, right? A lot of us don't need to be fake. So then why are they thinking this? But I'm just seeing that what makes people insecure about you, or what about you makes people insecure is that you're not fake. When you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day, but most of the time you're having a good day. You don't let yourself be held down by things. You fight back. I think the fact that you fight back and that you aren't afraid to be like a pioneer type, you know, starting out something that nobody else has done before. Again, it really makes people insecure. You're not afraid of the change. You're not afraid to break out of, even though it's normal, you can tell it's painful. What about Pile 1 makes people insecure? You don't care that you're being watched either. You don't care that people's eyes are on you. It's like you are getting backlash and you just don't care. And that makes people insecure because they think they wouldn't be able to handle the backlash. So then they want to come back and say you're not getting any, and it must be easier for Pile 1 because if I got the backlash I would think they would get, then I wouldn't be able to take it. Does that make sense? It's like they're both thinking that you're getting backlash or that you should be getting backlash, but then not believing that you are. And so thinking it comes easier to you. But I'm saying it probably did not come easy to you. And you've learned to not care about it. Yeah. It's your passion. It's the way that you create your life. How much you're willing to, venture out on your own. You're really not afraid to explode onto the scene, you know, just be the new person doing something. You know that you can get better over time. That's another thing. You're not afraid of growing. You're not afraid of changing. And I think that's why you're so good at meeting new people, is because you have that open door for new people. And you're so passionate. You might be a fire sign, which is Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. And then we have Sagittarius, Aries, and Taurus here. I'm not done. Let's see. This is the last one, for real this time. Okay. What about Pile 1 makes people insecure? What about Pile 1 makes people insecure? Yeah, that makes sense. And now we have the lion. So yeah, definitely a lot of fire imagery here. Be generous of spirit. So yeah, it's like, again, I think we're reiterating at this point, but it's a good reiteration because I think the main thing that makes people insecure is that you always have an open door for new people. You're not closed off. You haven't been shut down by life. You're still full of energy. You're still full of openness to others, openness to new ideas, and you're just forging ahead. I feel like you're very strong and just full of life. Yeah, and then you've got this, like, I don't know, they're seeing it as a naivete, basically. I think your youth energy makes people insecure, and you might have very wild hair. That's just a side thing. And I think your fearlessness is what makes people insecure. Your fearlessness about the way you present yourself, what you choose to do, who you want to be friends with. You're just absolutely fearless, Pile 1. I think if we just boil down into one thing, that would be it. Yeah, and you might have really amazing, beautiful hair, and maybe a lot of people around you would be too afraid to, it could be even like you're rocking your natural hair or something, and somebody feels like they would be too afraid and they would want to do only braids, or they would want to only do press, or something like that. And then if you're not a part of that community, maybe you don't straighten your hair every day, or you don't curl your hair every day. You let it just be kind of normal or wild or whatever. And somebody feels like, oh, I wouldn't be seen as professional, or, oh, I wouldn't be seen as blank. And that makes them insecure that it's that they're uncovering. I think you're making them insecure because you show them where they're afraid in life. What makes them afraid is very obvious when it comes to you, because you're so unafraid. So, yeah, that is what I'm getting for you, Pile 1. I'm glad we pulled that extra card. So let's pull some music videos just to end off and see little extra things. Okay, what about pile 1 makes people insecure? What about pile 1 makes people insecure? I'm just gonna have 3. 1, 2, 3. This makes sense. These are some girls skipping school, and they're like wild, and they're young, and they're skipping school, so that's breaking the rules, right? They get a lot of praise for kind of being wild, and they don't get a lot of consequences, like when they shoplift from a store, the guy lets them. It's like pretty privileged kind of vibe is what is being given off. And then they just get to go out and have fun, and it seems like they're best friends. So it covers a lot of the things we were talking about. This is a very cute music video where it's a lot of gay love stories, basically. And it's awesome. It's so, so cute. Oh, I love this one. I'm probably going to rewatch it. But yeah, it's so, so sweet. And I think this is, again, that crush energy. Everybody has, like, these crushes on you because you're so fresh and so open. And it's, like, it's very easy to fantasize about you, Pile 1, because it just seems like you would be so open and so fearless. And then on top of that, some people still see homosexuality as being, fearless. You're out of the closet. You're not afraid of the backlash you would get for being in a homosexual relationship, being really open about it. Not keeping it a secret and that sort of thing. And then with Every Time with Britney Spears, this with the hair, I think definitely I could see that because she's got these like really long extensions in this music video, and they're like really wavy. It's such a cute look, in my opinion. And she just kind of, it's like a breakup song, sort of. But basically, she's a Sagittarius as well, so another sign for Sagittarius. But I don't want to say like it because it's kind of a dark subject matter. But she's very fiery in the music video, I guess I could say. You'll have to comment down below. What do you think this goes into when it's talking about what makes people insecure? But I definitely could see it with you with looks, persona, your whole energy. So thank you very much, Pile 1. I really enjoyed this reading. Definitely like the video, subscribe to my channel so it grows, and I will link these down below, and I'll see you next time. Pile 2. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? What about pile 2? What about pile 2? We'll see if this in a second. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? So hi, pile 2. Okay, what about pile 2 makes people insecure? Are you my quiet bunch? What about pile 2 makes people insecure? With this, I'm getting you may win without trying. What about Pile 2 makes people insecure? There's a peacefulness with you. You know how to keep people happy. You know how to make people happy in your life. And that makes people insecure because maybe they feel that they're hard to love and they feel that you are easy to love. It also, I feel like, okay, so something else that makes people insecure about you is it seems like you have endless amounts of energy to work on the things that are important to you. They're seeing that you're working hard, but they're thinking that it comes easy to you. Like maybe you were born a hard worker, you know? This is interesting. Sure. What about you makes people insecure? I think this is really popping out to me. So this is the 5 of Swords, and I got it in reverse. So to me, it's like you win all these petty battles through good reputation. I feel like something that makes people insecure about you, Pile 2, is how good your reputation is. You don't seem to be flawed, and you're a very peaceful, calming kind of person, and this makes people insecure because they're like, am I doing too much? Am I doing too much? Could I even have as good of a reputation as Pile 2 has? I feel like you make people insecure because they're not sure they could even reach where you are on their best day. So yeah, your hardworking ability is definitely part of that. I don't know if you have a craft. Maybe you're naturally an artist, or whatever your job is as well. You could be, from other people's perspective, naturally good at it. Because they're seeing you as this hard worker, but I don't think it's your hard work that is making people insecure. It's the fact that the hard work seems to come easy to you. You know, they know you're staying late, but it seems like you love it. So that's something. You have this freshness too, like this sweetness. Whereas I feel like people are feeling insecure about you, or you're making people feel insecure because they're bitter and you're calm. You know, they really tried to win and they didn't win, and you didn't try to win, but you did win. But they do see the effort when it comes to interpersonal connections and soothing people, and could be even like customer service. Maybe you're like a really good, I think something else that makes people insecure about you, Pile 2, is how good you are at like customer service, how good you are with people. Like you're so charming, and just you just are so charming, and you're so good with customers, and it just seems to be like your major skill that I think it makes people insecure because they're like, I don't think I'm that pleasant to be around. Like they can't help but acknowledge how pleasant you are to be around, how soothing, how well you describe things, how emotionally in tune you are. Okay, got it. Okay, I keep going to roll the dice, and then they're like, wait. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll wait. Bitterness. Yo, Pile 2. Got some synchronicities. Okay, it says bitterness, grudge, refusal to let go. The past is a prison. The past, a prison. Okay. Ooh. Have you guys ever read Great Expectations? Because this is reminding me of Great Expectations. So, there's a very important character in that book, which is Miss Hasherfield, something like that, kind of long name. She's an old woman. She was left at the altar when she was a young woman, and she has never since taken off her wedding dress. The cake has been left to rot on the table, and it's kind of like a famous scene within that book, and this is really reminding me of it. It's like they are really connected. Oh, wow, this is... You don't let the past be a prison. Like, you... This is so funny, though. Let me think longer about this before I go. What about you makes people insecure, pal, too? Let me get some... This is so interesting, though, because... I don't know. Let me get some clarification on that. Get some clarification about the past to prison for pile number 2. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Clarification, please. Okay, well, that's about as clear as the cards could have possibly gotten. Which is to say that you may have had a really hard past, and yet you've let it go. You're the person who is not Miss Haverfield or whatever her name is. Please comment if you know who I'm talking about. You have started fresh, and you're just a person who, I think what makes people insecure about you, pal 2, is they have not let go of their hurt. They see that you've been hurt as much as them, and yet you were able to let go of it. So it makes them insecure. They're like, I thought I had plenty of reason to be a bitter old hag, is what I got. Oh my gosh. I thought I had plenty of reason to be a bitter old hag, and yet pal 2 had it way harder than me, and yet they're so carefree. They just lived their life brand new. They cleaned away the cake the day that they were left at the altar. You know, it just seems like you're able to sweep up house right away. You, again, with this, like, this charm. And there's so much wedding imagery, too. So it might be a side message that people are willing to commit to you, and that makes other people insecure. Again, there's something about you being easy to love, pal 2. I think I am sad for these people that you make insecure, because that's a terrible... I don't like that phrasing. I don't like that way of thinking. It's like everyone's easy to love, you know? There's no people that are harder to love than others. It's people who have been hurt, you know? That doesn't make you harder to love. That's just my opinion. But I think what makes people insecure, like, what about you makes people insecure is that you just seem so easy to love. You sweep away the cobwebs right away. Like, you're on to the next. Even when you've been really, really hurt and really gone through it, you've been able to trust and believe that there are better things ahead for you. So Miss Haverfield, or whatever, she never cleared away the cake and never took off her wedding dress because she was so sure that she'd never find love again and it would never get better for her. And you know what? She was right, because she kept the wedding cake on the table and let it rot, and she let her house become a rotting thing, you know? And that's what these people do. But they think they're justified, just like this woman in this book did. Sorry if you don't know what book I'm talking about, but I think I'm describing it enough to where it doesn't matter. But she was a very vengeful person, but she felt justified in her vengefulness because of her history. And you're not doing that. You don't do that. And that makes these type of people very insecure, because they're like, I thought I had a reason. I thought that if somebody took the time to hear my backstory, it would be a sob fest and they would understand my motivation and I'd be cleared, you know? And like, I deserve this revenge. I think these people think they deserve the revenge that they're enacting, but it's just a revenge on themselves. You know, they're the ones sitting in the rotted house, not the person who left them at the altar, you know? So yeah, it's like these people enact revenge onto people that weren't the ones to hurt them to begin with. Like, you're mad at the wrong people. And you make people insecure because you kind of let them see that. You make people see that all this anger, all this resentment that they're building up, it doesn't hurt anyone but themselves. And it makes them really insecure because they just really believed in this way that they were living. Also, you might be the same. Another thing that makes people insecure is this might be people that are your same age. They feel like they're incredibly old. They might be your age and they feel like an old maid already. I keep getting old maid, old hag, like, there's no terms for men, but it's a topic for another conversation, right? But old grandpas, they just feel like they're basically in the grave. Like, might as well just lean into all my hatred, all my prejudices, all my bad habits. Like, I'm already dead, basically. And you come in, same age as them, maybe even older than them, and you are this fresh breath of air and like sweetness embodied. And you seem young. You seem really young. At first, they might have even thought you were younger than them. And then they find your age, or they find out how long you've been around the block, you know, and what all you've been through, and they're embarrassed. I feel like another thing that makes people insecure, another thing about you that makes people insecure is that they get embarrassed around you because maybe they haven't done as much as you, or they've given up and you haven't. Your non-bitter attitude towards life is making people insecure. Because, okay, here's another example. Maybe you work at a call center with another person, and they're the type of person that all day long they're bitching. All day long they're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is the end of the world. Working at a call center, all it does is help capitalism. And again, I agree with that. But it doesn't necessarily serve you to sit there in the call center booth thinking those things and saying those things, because all it does is drag you down. Again, you're the one sitting in the filth. You are not stopping anything, because like you said, you're working for the capitalism right now. You're doing the call center work, you know? So it's not hurting anyone but you to sit there and have a terrible time, you know? And maybe you are the type of person, pal, too, where you're at the call center. It's not your dream job, but you like make a little joke with your friend. You put up a cute little Post-it note on your desk of a little drawing you did, or like you do all these like cute little things to just uplift yourself. You have personal jokes with your coworkers. You know everybody at the floor. Maybe you are on a name-by-name basis with the secretary up at the front. You know, like you make life more fun, even in a negative situation. And you're very fresh about everything. And it makes these people insecure. They're like, oh gosh, you know, I thought that it was just like, you know, I have every right to hate this job. And yeah, you do. You totally do. But it doesn't hurt anyone but you to sit there while you're at work. Complain when you get home. Complain to your friends or your partner or whoever, you know. Complain to them. Don't complain to the other people who are in this situation with you already, because they already know how much it sucks. Like you're preaching to the choir. It's interesting. Okay. Haversham. That is the last name. She ends up adopting this girl and basically sending her out on the world to enact her revenge against men. And she tries to turn her into like a little siren, basically, this adopted daughter, so that she can then break it off with these men and break as many hearts as she can, because Miss Haversham never got the chance to break all these hearts and wants revenge against that guy that left her at the altar. So again, there's this whole system that they've enacted around this belief that they have every right to be mad, and you make them insecure because you don't live that way. And you've experienced what they've experienced and maybe more. And you still don't live that way. And you still don't live with resentment and bitterness. Okay. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Something a little free about you too, because I'm seeing, okay, here we got shoeless, And I've said this before in a reading, but I see shoeless pictures and stuff in the cards as being like a more vulnerable, a sign of vulnerability, because that's what you do in like art history. That's what they say. And then also we've got kind of shorter skirts here. So there might also be this thing where your willingness to show skin is another thing that makes people insecure. Like, you're willing to show skin. I am coming up with these age things. So maybe you're like in an older bracket and yet you're still showing skin, and that makes people insecure because they're like, I could never, or I could never be as confident as pile 2. You're very natural. Just in the way you do things, you're very natural. I think that goes back to this, where it's like, everything seems to come naturally to you. And you're very in nature too. You seem one with nature. Like you seem alive in your body and still present in your body. And that can make people insecure because it makes them aware of their own out-of-bodiness. If that makes sense. What makes people insecure about? What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Okay. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Yeah, you're a dreamer, and you're very fresh, and you're very in the moment, you're very present. Again, you could win debates, but you didn't have to do any prior research. You didn't have to have this whole strategic plan. You just thought on your feet, and you got there. You know, it's like maybe there's an employee of the month situation, and somebody, one of your coworkers is like scamming the system. You know, they're like, every time you get caught taking out the trash, you get like 3 stars on the board, and so you're closer to becoming employee of the month. So what they're doing is like waiting for the boss to come around the corner and then taking the trash out. So they make sure the boss sees and they know it's something you get a star for, and that's the way that they're trying to achieve the goal. And then with you just like sweep around the office, you know, you see some dishes and you're picking them up. You don't even care who's in the room with you. You don't care who sees you. And then you end up winning employee of the month, and everybody really loves you, and everybody views you as a hard worker. Even if you don't win the employee of the month, everyone views you as a hard worker. And it's like, you didn't need all this strategy. You just have a good character. So that's why there's no, yeah. I can see why people are insecure about you a little bit. I can see why you make people insecure about too, because it's like they have this belief that you're perfect and that it all comes naturally to you and you just have a flawless character and you never make mistakes, and I'm sure that's not true. But this is how they see you, so of course they're going to be insecure. If that's how they see you, then they've locked themselves in a corner, because if you see someone as perfect, they're going to make you insecure. I mean, that's just how it works. But yeah, I'm seeing that people do really see you as this like flawless, perfect character where you would never get caught lying because you never lie. You know, that sort of thing, where you never get caught in a trap because you're just never doing anything wrong, rather than evading justice. Like these people almost feel like they are evading justice. Like they're skimming the system. So yeah, they feel insecure about you. Okay. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? What about pile 2 makes people insecure? What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Now this is interesting. Yeah, I would say these people are very, okay, I was just about to say these people are very insecure. Yeah, no shit. But these people are very confused. These people are very confused. And I feel like they have this view of you being this perfect person, but just like we said earlier on in the reading, these even though they view you as this perfect person, it's almost like some of them know that you've gone through a lot of hardship or more hardship than them. So then it's like a mystery to them how you could have gone through heartache but not be trying to compete with other people. Like, we'll use the women example again. It's like how you have gone through heartbreak, or maybe you've been cheated on. For example, you've been left at the altar. You've been left in some way that created a major heartbreak. And yet this didn't make you turn around and compete with other women. This didn't make you turn around and hate other people, and be fearful of other people and try to be negative towards others. So it makes them insecure, because if they were you in your shoes, they'd be acting way worse. So it makes them insecure because it makes them doubt their own character. Then with the 10 of Wands, under the 10 of Cups, it's like, how are you able to extend your hand to others when you have so much to bear? I think what makes people insecure about you, or what about you makes people insecure about too, is, you know that phrase, you can't love someone else if you don't love yourself, you know? I feel like you kind of prove that wrong in a way, because you have a lot of internal mental things, and yet you're able to keep it together for other people. Again, with this being easy to love, it's like you've gone through hardships, and yet you don't put the burden on other people. Like, you never put the burden on other people. You don't come into work and put your burden of your sad life, if you have sad moments in your life, onto your coworkers, onto your customers. You know, I feel like we all have those coworkers who will take out their bad day on a customer, you know, or be like extra rude when they didn't get enough sleep last night, you know, and they just told all the coworkers, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, and then they get on the intercom and they're rude. And you're like, oh, okay. So they're being rude because they didn't get enough sleep. It's their burden, but they're projecting it on another person. So you can think of a lot of examples, but that's just like one example to kind of encapsulate what I'm saying, which is you don't place your burdens on other people, and it makes people insecure because they feel like it's their right to place it on other people. It's like the one little piece of power they get in the day to project their bad mood on another person. And you just seem to never do that. You just seem to never do that. You're very free. You're very, very free. Free, but in a loving way. I feel like, again, with these people that are insecure about you, or what makes people insecure about you, is like, you're free, but in a non-brash way. Like, you're free in a very sweet way. So what do I mean by that? Some people can say that Sagittarius can be very brash or hurtful because they're so free with what they want to say that sometimes it comes out wrong, and sometimes they don't think about the consequences of their words. You know, we can debate if we think that that's true or not. I think I've loved Sagittarius placements my whole life. And they know how to get to the truth, you know, but they have to heal that sense of them of brutal honesty is the only way to be honest. But anyway, what makes people insecure about you, pile 2, is that you are free. You are doing what you want to do, but actually what you want to do is help people. What you want to do is be sweet to others. What you want to do is make someone else's day better. So you're very free. You're not people pleasing. You genuinely are just being sweet to others. You're very free, and what you choose to do with your freedom is to be sweet to others. And people feel like if they were free, they would be the biggest bitch on the earth. You know, if they were completely free, they didn't have to be beholden to anybody, they would be so rude. But they see that you're not beholden to anyone and you're so sweet, and they don't get that. They don't understand that, and it makes them insecure because it makes them question their character. That's what it comes down to, I think, with you. Yeah, you think on your feet. You're not a calculative, nasty person. Yeah, you're not a calculative, nasty person, and that makes people insecure. Because you still get to your achievements and you still enjoy your life and you're very free, and yet you're not projecting. Okay, now 7 of Pentacles and 8 of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting. let me just see what additional messages. I can look up here. Yeah, I just feel like you're always growing. It's like, yeah, this comes naturally to you. I feel like your work and what you like to do and work on, it comes naturally to you, and yet you're still putting in a lot of effort. That's the thing, is like, you're naturally good, and some people would just rest on their laurels. So I think what's making people insecure about you, pile 2, is that with your resources, they would rest on their laurels, and they wouldn't try to get better. And what rest on their laurels means is like, I already got my awards, so now I can give up. A laurel was like an award given. I think it's Greek. And it's like this little wreath of, and you wear it like a crown. And if you rest on your laurels, that means you don't need any more. You already got some. So I don't need to go in for Employee of the Month this month because I got it last month. But for you, it's like you're always working towards another goal. Even when you've already achieved so much. And I feel like it's for you, it's the love of the game. And you just like what you're doing. So obviously you're always going to want to keep growing and getting better. There's no end goal. And so that makes people really insecure. Again, because there's no strategy with you, and yet you get what you get really high in life. Even without that strategy. And yeah, it makes people insecure. But I think you're teaching people too. I feel like these people are really, it's, you know, like this is the kind of energy I'm getting from these people. It's like you rub them raw almost, because there's something about your energy that just grates on these people. And I think you are teaching them, but it's rubbing them really the wrong way. So eventually they will learn this lesson. Even if it's at the end of their life on their deathbed and they're like, I should have been nicer and I should have enjoyed my life better, you'll be one of those people that had contributed to that lesson eventually coming into their mind. So it's good. I don't even feel like I need to give you any advice. The one piece of advice I would give you is don't let these people sour your day. Yes, it's good to teach people things. But you don't need to be close to them. You don't need to be super close to them. You can break away a bit. You can love from a distance. That would be my one piece of advice for you. But yeah, I feel like this is what makes people insecure about you, pal, too. So let's end off with some music videos. That was really fun. Okay. Gotta leave like a clip of the ruined, note to me, gotta leave a clip of the ruined wedding room from one of the adaptations of Great Expectations. One of my favorite books ever. Not a lot of good adaptations, I will say. I wish they would do, I know there's a new one, I haven't seen it, so maybe it's good. But I'd love to see, like, I know Clueless is like a modern day adaptation of Emma. I'd love to see like one of those, like a Clueless version of Great Expectations. That'd be so good. Okay, what about pile 2 makes people insecure? And just 2 more. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Okay. Yeah, you really know how to enjoy life, and things come to you in a very like natural way. And I know these two meet in a very natural way in the music video. It's like they just meet out in public, and then it kind of flows naturally into this relationship, and you get to see this like very natural progression. the positivity in this as well. And the keeping high standards, you know, and not taking out your frustration on people or looking down on people, but rather just keeping a high standard for yourself. Knowing what you require of other people keeps things good. Yeah. And then this is just like, what makes people insecure about pile 2 is that you don't need to get petty. You living your life and not caring about anybody is as petty as you need to be. And these people they're under the impression that you have to be underhanded in order to win a pettiness competition. You know, you have to be underhanded in order to win a competition between you and another person. But the thing is usually it's like that person might end up looking silly in the end. The person who was really, really petty and, you know, one of the lyrics in this is like, I'll call your mom, or I'll send a picture to your mom, or something like that. Sometimes that person can end up looking a little silly, depending on the situation, you know, but it can happen. And so when you never put yourself in those positions where you're looking silly, that can make people insecure because they know they could be called out for something. So anyway, I'll leave these down below, but thank you very much, Pile 2. Please subscribe, and it'll really help the channel grow. Really appreciate it. But yeah, like the video, comment what resonated, and I'll see you next time. What about pile 3 makes people insecure? What about pile 3 makes them insecure? What about pile 3 makes people insecure? So actually what I'm getting for you, pile 3, is maybe your athleticism. So I don't know, are you an athlete of some kind, or do you have like a strict schedule that you keep? What I was getting in my mind was athletic, and then I was like, okay, but let's turn over the card and see what we see, you know. And then I got for religion, I'm getting like you're religious about something. I think that something that makes people insecure about you is how religiously you achieve your goals, how religiously you keep to a schedule. When you tell someone a goal, it's like you will achieve it, is what I'm getting. It's like you have the stamina, you have the drive, like it's gonna happen. And you're very like matter of fact. You have a lot of self-trust, which makes people insecure because they don't have that, you know. They don't have the track record either. There's something about it where I think another thing that makes people insecure about you is that you have the track record to back up what you're saying. Like you're not just saying, oh, I'm gonna run this marathon in 2 months and I'm gonna have to work out every day. No. You've already ran like 3, and so this is just another. You know, and I'm using athleticism as an example, but it really could be a lot of different things, but that's just kind of the easiest way to describe this energy of what's making people insecure about you is somebody who's an athlete, who's got a track record, who's maybe broken some records, or, you know, it's when you look at an athlete, there's this assumed dedication, and that's what you have, pile 3. You have this assumed dedication. So, Okay, if it's not athleticism, because, you know, not everyone can be super active, so I don't want to, I feel like this message can still be for people who are not super athletic, that it's just like the way that Spirit wanted, like, helped me find this energy. An example could be that, let me think, I don't know, I'm just getting like debate team even, or like robotics team, or, give me an example, please. What else could this be? Could be travel. Could be you live in a big city, so you have to make a lot of money and you have to be a dedicated person. Could be you have like a high up job with a lot of rules and regulations. So again, there's something where knowing you a little tiny bit lets people know you have dedication. So say you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an underwater welder. You know, it's like something about your career or what you do makes your dedication very obvious. Because all of those jobs that I just listed, they require a lot of training, carefulness, attention to detail, consistency. You have to show up every day. It is not, none of those things are lenient. There's something about your life that is so not lenient, and is just, there's something about you that makes it very obvious that you work super hard. And not even just like hard work, but it's like this strictness. You're very strict. And it's like you follow your own commandments. Maybe you have kids too, because that could be another thing. Maybe you have like 4 kids and they're all really well behaved. And when you see 4 really well behaved kids in a room, I know my mind's racing. I'm like, how did that happen? You know, that took dedication. That takes somebody who is very on top of it. You know, all your kids are clean, all your kids are polite, all your kids look happy. That's a lot of work. Even if I'm not seeing the work, I'm seeing the work from the result. I think what makes people insecure about you, or what about you makes people insecure, is the assumed work that went into whatever your lifestyle is. Let's think of an easier thing too. I'm also imagining like maybe you have a house that is like completely decorated for Christmas, and it makes people insecure because they're like, again, I don't think I could be as, this is what they're thinking, I don't think I could be responsible enough to make sure all of those Christmas ornaments didn't break over the months, 11 months till the next Christmas. You know, it seems like you've built up these Christmas decorations over years, because how did you decorate your entire house? No way that you went out and bought, I mean, I guess you could have, but it's unlikely that you went out and bought all these new decorations. It's more likely that you have a dedicated area in your garage where all your Christmas decorations go, and then you have a routine of every November 22nd, you put up all the Christmas decorations. So it takes dedication to keep hold of a plan like that and to actually see that all through. You know, like my family was not consistent about, you know, Christmas decorations and that sort of thing, because they're so easy to lose or break. It's no hate, like they're so easy to lose or break. So then if you do have all these Christmas decorations and you have a little tiny glass ornament that says your baby's first name, and it's like obvious that you got this like the first year your baby was born, your baby's 13 now, I'm a little insecure around you, because you are obviously a very careful, dedicated, long-term planning kind of individual. And again, all of these are examples. You'll have to apply it to your own life. But I think by this point, you probably have been able to graft something onto your life. And if it's not, then it's not your pal. But that's what I'm getting so far. There's something ornate. Okay, here's another example. You could have obviously dyed blonde hair, but it's so crisp and gorgeous. It's like anybody who knows about hair is gonna think, oh my gosh, she must go in for highlights like every 2 weeks. How is she doing that? Same with like elaborate nails. They must religiously be going into the nail salon. I would never be able to keep it up. I would break that nail instantaneously, and they probably cost her so much. Like, she must be so careful, or they must be so careful to have these elaborate nails all the time. And so they're a little insecure that they wouldn't be able to stay as high maintenance as you. You really keep yourself up, you know, if a lot of these other things don't make sense. But I think, yeah, a big thing is just going to be you really keep yourself up in a way where, see, I get a little tired. I feel like that's what makes people insecure. They get a little tired thinking about how your maintenance must be. Maybe your skin is always hairless, shiny, buffed out. Your nails are always done. You've always got a fresh, set of lashes. Your hair is freshly highlighted all the time. It's like there is something obvious about your appearance as well. Even if you're those other things too, I think your appearance as well shows your dedication to consistency and the way you live your life. Okay. Long-term planning, carefulness, attention to detail. These are things that make people insecure about you. Or these are things about you that make people insecure. Okay. What about pile 2 makes people insecure? Gosh, I got so much from yours. And actually, that's funny. Yeah. Okay. Okay. What about pile 2? Pile 3. What about pile 3 makes people insecure? Of course you would get 10 of Wands. Pile 3, please comment below what is your life like? Like, I just gotta know. What are you doing? What are your responsibilities? Like, how many kids do you have? And you don't have to have kids for this, but that would be like an easy thing because everyone knows kids are a lot of work. Like, not in a negative way, but just like, it's just the truth. Geez, 10 of Wands. Okay, so what about pile 3 makes people so insecure? They can carry it all. They can do it all. It makes people feel like they are whiny little bitches because you have no problem carrying everything yourself. Keeping work-life balance, remembering holidays, remembering everyone's birthday, keeping up your workout schedule, keeping up with your nails. It's just like you never have an off day. You always keep everything above water, you keep everything afloat. Everyone can rely on you. This is just assumptions, of course, but there's got to be some level of truth to it. I don't know. Are you taking the kids to soccer every single day, and people are seeing you? Like, you could be one of those PTA moms. I know I was always like, how are they doing this? I was in color guard in high school. I feel like these stories, they always relate, so I'm going to tell them. I like it when other readers do this, so. I was in color guard in high school, and we had the guard moms. And it was a couple people's moms who, they were at every show. They were basically at every practice, helping us do our hair, helping us, they would bring in food. They would drive us all around. They would be the ones just coordinating everything. This is unpaid job here. They're every day, and my mom could not even make it to a show. No offense, Mom, if you're watching. I don't think you would be, but, my mom, she worked full time, so I'm not trying to dog her. I'm just saying, like, I never understood how these moms did it and how they found the time, because something we would do every week that we had a show is we would get a new little sign on our locker, and it would be decorated like the show, and it would have each of our names on it, and it would say something really nice, and they're all handmade. So that's like 40 little poster boards that they had to be making every week. That's a lot to keep up with. I never saw them making this, but I never went a week without one. And I know it was the moms who were doing it, the unpaid moms. So it's just something about that where you are very reliable, pile 3. Reliable, and yet the work is very heavy. It's like people can see the heavy work, and they see that you never let them down, and there's like a discrepancy there. Like, how is that possible? Like, how do you even have that much time in the day? Like, how are you doing it? So maybe you go to school and work and have a healthy relationship and have friends, something like that. And that can make people insecure because maybe they feel like they're drowning with just work in a relationship. Like, that can seem like too much, and no shade to these people at all. But you're just very impressive, pile 3, because you shoulder a lot, and yet you never fall through. That's just what I'm getting. Hopefully you're not putting too much pressure on yourself. You know, give yourself some scheduled out days to take a break. You know, I'm not saying you have to let people down, but get them used to doing things without you sometimes, you know? Just my little advice for you. Get some water. But I do think that's another thing. It's like, I'm getting for some of you, you needed that advice, but for others of you, you know how to keep yourself good. That's the other thing. It's like another one of the tasks that you have on your list is take care of me. And people are they're a little insecure because they're like, when I have a busy week, I look like shit, and my hair's not washed, and my nails are chipping off, and you know, all this stuff. I don't know. That's the insecurity talking, right? And that's what this reading's about. So, okay. What about pile 3 makes people insecure? So funny. We get the 10 of Wands first. The 9 of Wands. Yeah. Well, this is kind of what we were just talking about. It's like, you know how to heal yourself up, and you know how to like take that time apart to regroup and make sure you're ready to go for every single thing. It's like, yeah, you carry a lot, but then when you do get burnt out, you take that time and you make sure that you are always coming to it. Maybe that's why people are getting insecure, is like, they see that you're never faltering, and they're taking that personally in a way. It's like, well, I falter, so I'm not as good as pile 3. But I think once they get to know you a bit better, maybe they'll see that there are times where you do get overwhelmed, and what you do when you get overwhelmed is you retreat, you have a little me time, you know, make yourself some cozy environment, and you give yourself time to replenish and like light your own fire, basically, instead of doing everything for everybody else. Okay, I just got a new group of people that are kind of, that get insecure around you. And that's people who also take on a lot of burdens, but then don't heal. So there's the people that are just even insecure because you take on so much and you're so consistent and you always get things done, and you take on way more than they could. But then there's also people who take on as much as you, but then they don't take that me time. And I feel like they get insecure by you as well, because they feel like they're martyrs, and then you come in and kind of switch up that vibe, and you make their martyrdom look a little silly, basically. Okay. What about pile 3 makes people insecure? You have a really good sense of humor? Pile 3? All these kids. It's this, yeah. I mean, you don't have to have kids for this pile to resonate, but if you do have kids, this pile should absolutely resonate, because people are just really impressed by how you can handle a full car of kids. And then for people who don't have kids, or that doesn't resonate, you can just handle a lot of things going on at the same time. You're a juggler. You know, for sure, like a juggler, and you really know how to stay calm and positive, and you keep a smile on your face. So I'm getting, you have this like sense of humor and this really bright, fun energy, and just a sly, satisfied smile on your face that makes people insecure, because I feel like your general positivity also makes people insecure. Yeah, they get a little dragged down by life. But you always have this like slight smile, and you always know how to make a joke and be enlightened and excited by life. What I'm getting here is you could be that person that every time you pass a cow on the highway, you're like, oh, look, a cow. You know, like you still, even though you've got all these burdens and all these, you know, things to keep up with, and you have to heal from time to time and all this stuff, you still are so delighted by the little things in life, and delighted by seeing a little pretty butterfly right outside your window, or seeing a deer on the highway, or, you know, stuff like that. Like, just little amazing things. You have a childlike joy for the world too, on top of being this person who is just so consistent. And it's not just your circle, okay? That's why I think I brought up the Garden Moms thing. It's like, you don't just hold things down for your immediate family or your little circle. You hold things down for a broader range of people, like your community as a whole. So that's really interesting. You're emotionally driven, and yeah, you're giving mother energy. Somebody who remembers the holidays, holds everybody together emotionally, picks up all the loose ends of things. And can manage many different things at the same time. Okay, great. What about pile 3 makes people insecure? What about pile 3 makes people insecure? Okay. You're not counting down the days till vacation. Like, you enjoy day to day, even though your day to day is so much work, you enjoy it. And you know that everything has their time. And when you're doing the work, you're enjoying it. And when you're having a break, you're enjoying it. And you just know how to begin new, begin fresh as well. Once you've had your time to heal, you come back towards everybody with, again, just this really open energy. I feel like because you take that time to heal, you're never like caught in a bad moment and so like lashing out. It's like every time you take that time to heal, you then are awakened to a new, even a better way of looking at things. Okay? Queen of Wands. Yeah, you are very Queen of Wands. But I think the reason that the Queen of Wands is coming out so much later in this reading is because they didn't want me to make you seem careless or reckless. Because sometimes the Queen of Wands can be seen that way. But I think the reason it's coming out so late and right under the Chariot is like, you have all these Queen of Wands energies of passion, love, light, fun, sexiness, freshness, excitability, sense of fashion, and being really elaborate and decorative. And yet you're very serious. You're very serious. You know how to hold things down, and like you're very reliable. And I think the Chariot plus the Queen of Wands is like somebody who, plus this card, it's just that you're just somebody who holds all of these within yourself. You're very dynamic, very, very dynamic. Now with this Four of Swords, we also got the King of Cups. Now, give me some clarification about what you mean with the Knight of Cups, Four of Swords, Knave of Wands. Oh, okay. I see. Yep. Okay. Yes. You know when to lead and when to fall back. You know what's the right time. You always have the right action for the right moment. Because you know how to look at a situation. Yes, you're the one who carries a lot of things. But again, you know how to take like a back seat. I think this is a great way to look at this card too, where the car is very lively and she's enjoying it, you know, and I'm sure she's a very lively person, but she knows it's their time. They're having a conversation. They're the ones who are shining in that moment, even though you're the star of this card, the Chariot. It's just, you know, one way to look at it. But I just feel like you know when to rest, when to move forward, when to be the one to make the first move, when to let somebody else take the center stage. And I think these things make people insecure because they feel like they're always messing up, and they feel like you never mess up. You never mess up. You never drop the ball. I feel like that's something we've been getting from the very beginning is what makes people insecure about you, pile 3, is they feel like you never drop the ball, and they feel like they're always dropping the ball. Okay, here we go. We are going to pull, okay, these two out. What about pile 3 makes people insecure that I missed? You know how to move into calmer waters too? You know how to de-escalate situations. A lot of these are very mom qualities to me. It definitely doesn't have to be gendered at all, but it's just like mom qualities somehow, you know? And yet you got the Emperor too, so like you know how to hold the fort down. But again, that seems like mom to me. Okay. What about pile 3 makes people insecure? Yeah. Let me get mother. Your standards is another thing. I feel like some people get insecure because they want to seem good in your eyes, but you're so good that they feel like your standards might outreach them. So maybe this is your kids. Maybe they get a little insecure because you seem like super mom, and they feel like they're failing out or something like that. Just for some. But another thing could just be like they feel like they could never hold it together the way you do. And I feel like something that makes people insecure about you, pile 3, and I'm glad we pulled these extra cards because there's a sweetness to it as well. They look up to you so much that you make them insecure. I think there's a decent group of people who are insecure by you because they look up to you. They want to reach your standard, but they kind of wonder if they would be able to. You seem to know yourself really well. And you take chances in your life while still holding things together and being the one who, oversees. I see you as like a very much overseer type as well. So something else that can make people insecure is that they don't know what to give you. What do you give a person who has everything kind of vibe? They feel like they couldn't live their life without you. I feel like something that makes people insecure, or something about you that makes people insecure is like they don't know if they could live without you. They don't know if they could do it all without you. They kind of wonder if all their successes are due to you. So that might just be some people in your life, or even it could be your coworkers, or like if you're maybe even your boss. Somebody's like thinking that you are kind of controlling things or running the show. And it makes them insecure because maybe they're supposed to be running the show. Yeah, you're really brave. You're really brave. And you're brave for taking all these responsibilities on. And then you're also brave for like still caring about life and being invested and trying new things. And putting yourself out there. You still put yourself out there. Okay, so that's what I'm getting for you, pile 3. Thank you very much. Now let's just pull some music videos to end off. If you wouldn't mind, just please subscribing to help my channel grow. Would really help. But yeah, let's pull some music videos. There they are. Now, what about pile 3 makes people insecure? What about pile 3 makes people insecure? What about pile 3 makes people insecure? 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, but bad news. This makes sense. First of all, she's wearing a wedding dress, and it's kind of giving like she will just sweep you away from the world. So yeah, I just feel like you're just such an impressive person who would be like the leader in a relationship, the leader in a friendship. So that can make people insecure because they're like, do I need a leader? Does it mean I'm a bad person if I like to be led? No, it doesn't. But yeah, so that can make people insecure, but I feel like for a lot of them they get over it, you know, but it could just make them a little insecure at first. You have, yeah, again, with you have this like knowledge of self. You have this really great knowledge of yourself that allows you to heal, look inward, and still stay nostalgic about things you like, still look towards the future and see more stuff you want. It allows you to know what you can and can't handle, and it allows you to break out of any situation that doesn't work for you. So I would say those are all the things that can make people insecure about you, but yeah, they're great things. So congratulations to you, pile 3. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to leave these all down below, and please leave me a comment about what resonated. Okay, pile 4, classy ass over here. What about pile 4 makes people insecure? You have good manners. Maybe you're somebody who knows which fork to use at a fancy restaurant, you know, how to curtsy, how to dress in really nice situations. But I'm also feeling like you know the rules of a lot of different situations. So I feel like something that can make people insecure about something about you that can make people insecure is that you seem to know the rules about every situation one could encounter, and you never make yourself look a fool anyway, is what people think. Because if you were at a fancy restaurant, you would know which fork to use. And if you were at a cookout at somebody's backyard, you would be dressed appropriately. You would end up matching everybody that was there. You would know how to have a conversation in a very classy establishment and a very casual establishment. Like, you know how to adjust to your environment. You can keep a really straight face too. You can keep a really, really straight face. And this makes people insecure because they don't know where you stand. Because you could have a long conversation with someone and you secretly hate that person. So I think this makes people insecure because they don't know where they stand with you. Okay. Let's roll the dice. What about pile 4 makes people insecure? Virgo, yeah. Scorpio, and Cancer. Yeah. Yep. So the reason I'm saying that is that I feel like these 3 signs can be like the most fake nice people on the whole planet. That's so funny. A Virgo, they are just a great politician's wife, first of all. You know, so it's like, what I mean by politician's wife is more of like the stereotype, or like the idea of that, which is just somebody who can smile in everybody's face, even when they know their husband hates that person. Like, they're the ones who keeps everybody, it's like a very tumultuous dinner, you know, where both sides of the party are both at the table and they keep everything chill. They keep everyone from exploding. They are always the ones to take it back down and keep it at that simmer. They don't let anything boil over. Virgos are very good in those kind of complex political, just complex dynamics where everything needs to stay under the surface, but they're not unaware. Like a Libra could maybe, not always, of course, but a Libra could be like a tad people-pleasing, and that's why they're good in those situations, because they're trying to please everybody. But instead, Virgo knows who the enemy and who the friend is, but keeps everyone at bay and keeps everything smooth. They're very meticulous, detail-oriented. Polite is just perfect for them. Thoughtful. Yeah, they're kind of known as that fixer. And they're also known as like kind of above the fray in a way, because they have the Hermit and they also have like the Virgin. So it's like, it's this idea of being above the fray, above it all. What makes people insecure about you, Pile 4, is they feel like you're above it all. They feel silly, frivolous, idiotic, I just heard, compared to you. Because you're so particular and you're so, it's just very precise that you've got going on here. And then with Scorpio, everyone knows, or maybe you don't, but Scorpio is like very psychologically aware, great manipulators. They can keep a lot under the surface. And then Cancer is the most fake nice of all time. Like, this is why sometimes I have trouble with Cancers. No offense, because I do at the end of the day, I love all placements have their place, of course. But I have several close people with, heavy Cancer placements. But, they can be fake nice, and they make somebody who's a little more brash like me feel a little nervous, because I don't know if, you can't tell just by hanging out with them if you guys are still as close as you used to be. You can't tell by just seeing them in passing if they were secretly mad at you. Like, you'll have to, really pry it out of them to know their true feelings on something. They can keep shit hidden forever, Nobody can hold a grudge like a Cancer, a Virgo, or a Scorpio. I mean, dang. Yeah, there's something about your intuition really being on point as well. And that makes sense, because obviously, ooh. Somebody doesn't want me to speak. No, but also I feel like people are afraid to speak. They're afraid to talk to you. They're afraid to say things to you. They're afraid to clear the air with you. Because they don't want to know, what if you are mad at them? Then they'd have to know that, and that would be so scary. But anyway, back to what I was saying. In order to perfectly blend into every situation like you seem to be able to, you have to be somebody who's very thoughtful, has a great attention to detail, has an amazing intuition, because you're so quick with it. I think also you have this like delicateness to you, Pile 4, and that could make people feel insecure. They feel like brutes compared to you. Like, you're so delicate and like, I don't know, elegant. But not snotty, like I said, because you can get along in these casual environments. So it's more like breezy, light touch, I think that's why you're able to handle all these situations too, because it's not aggressive. Again, it's like you're keeping everything at a simmer. You don't let things boil over. Like, it's very much, I don't know. You have powers. Pile 4, okay. What makes people insecure about pile 4? What about pile 4 makes people insecure? Gosh, the phrasing is going to kill me on this one. What about pile 4 makes people insecure? Yeah, all their flaws just really stick out to them. I think your presence makes people insecure, pile 4, because suddenly they are critiquing themselves. They are noticing every flaw about themselves. And it's almost like they want to word vomit what's wrong about them. It's like you'll go up, maybe you've had this experience before, pile 4, where you'll meet somebody and you'll be having like a completely normal conversation and they'll be like, oh, don't mind my outfit. I know I look just such a mess. And it's like, well, I hadn't noticed, but then you can kind of assess their appearance and be like, okay, well, I guess they do have a hair out of place there and they got a little stain on their shirt here. And it's like they feel the need to point out their flaws before you notice. And this can make people insecure because then they're just outing themselves as whatever is insecure about them in that moment, you know? It's like, tell me if in the comments down below if you had somebody when they're having a conversation with you all of a sudden be like, oh, and don't mind the stain on my shirt or whatever. Okay, I guess we're doing 2. What about pile 4 makes people feel insecure? Again, with this gracefulness, with the swan. And you really get to the heart of things. Yeah, I would say a big, huge thing is you make people feel tactless, brutish, big, like they're taking up so much space, and like they're clomping around, like their steps are loud. There's something about your presence that makes them hyper aware of themselves. And I think it's just your light touch with things and how delicate and beautiful that you come across as. So, okay, what about pile 4 makes people insecure? What about pile 4 makes people insecure? Pile 4 makes people insecure. You don't ask for help, and it doesn't even seem like you need help. Like you do things so gracefully. You always seem to be winning in some way, and you seem to be worthy of people's attention, worthy of people's praise. And like you're always getting praise. You're always getting attention. And you're so humble. There's something like so sweet and soft about you that, again, it just makes people feel like big lumbering idiots. And they kind of feel like you're side-eyeing them. This is very Cancer, Virgo energy to me. Like you kind of wonder if this sweetness is a facade and that they're secretly judging you. I feel like that's your energy, pile 4. Are you secretly judging people? Comment down below. But it makes people insecure because they can feel your eye on them. They can feel your eye on them. And even when you're not looking at them, it's like they still feel it. You see this side eye? I keep getting this side eye situation. Like, I don't know. And King of Wands. Clarify this King of Wands for me. What about pile 4 makes people insecure? And the Chariot, which is Cancer. It's very much star energy. I know this is a king, but it's giving me like prince in a novel. You know, somebody who is just... Anybody who's read like the Throne of Glass series, like you're giving me like Dorian vibes. But if you haven't, I'm reading that right now, so it's on my mind. But yeah, you're giving me like the charming prince who can charm anyone's socks off and knows how to handle any situation, can always say the funny, witty, off-the-cuff quote that gets the whole table laughing and keeps everybody at a... I think this is how you're keeping everything from boiling over. You know how to put in that funny quip. You know how to tell a nice little story. You know how to change the topic at the opportune time. You're very adept conversationally. That's what it is. What can make people insecure about you, Pile 4, is how adept at conversation you are. You always keep it moving. Yeah, you're a charmer. You are a charmer. And then people feel insecure, like, did I just get charmed by this? Yeah, you did. You got charmed by Pile 4. You know, no needs to feel insecure. They're a pro. What are we gonna do? Yeah, you're a pro. You're a pro. Pile 4. I feel like you're just like such a pro charmer, and you're so sweet, and you set up this conversation, you set up these situations, and then you kind of hide your hand, or you act innocent. It's like you pretend that this is like all happening very naturally, but you're like the coordinator of it all. But in a pleasant way. Again, it's like a politician kind of way, or politician wife kind of way. Like, and the reason I say wife, because yeah, it's politician, but like, it's as if you're not the politician, you know? I'm saying politician's wife because they're the ones that, like, the party planner, you know what I mean? And they're the ones who's kind of going under the radar, talking to everybody, and their guard is down because they're not the actual politician. That's why I'm saying like prince. Their guard is down because you're the prince, you're not the king. But that's how they get swindled by you. They underestimate you just enough to where they're able to be charmed by you, able to be swayed by you. Like, think back to our earlier example of the politician party, where you've got both people on this either side of the aisle, and you're the politician's wife for one side of the aisle, obviously. You would be that person to get in a conversation with somebody who's on the opposite side of your partner, and because their guard is down with you, they're able to be more swayed. Okay? Are we getting this? Are we liking this metaphor? Hopefully you can project it onto your situation, but there's just something about you that you can be really, you can sneak through enemy lines. You're so charming and so aware and so careful and such a delicate touch, and yet so conversationally adept. You could really do anything. You could really do anything. And you work so hard, and yet it's like you didn't even break a sweat. You know, that's kind of the vibe. It's like, you did all this hard work, but it looks like you're just having fun, just chilling, you know? Yeah, that's again, it's like, it is very Cancer energy because, I know my mom's a Cancer rising, and she's an interior designer, and she has to really like butter up her clients, you know, and become close friends with them, and it can't seem fake, and it isn't fake, but it definitely can't seem fake because they're already on their guard, they're paying her, you know, so there's something where even people that are kind of on their guard with you, it's like you can seep through their defenses through one way or another, because again, your charm is just so strong. And I think this makes people insecure because they're like, did I just get swindled? Am I being charmed? Is this real? Do they really want to be my friend, or do they need something from me? And this can make people kind of question themselves. I'm seeing that you use your powers for good and evil. So some of these people are getting swindled. Some of these people are getting swindled. But hey, you made them laugh. You charmed them, so they got something too, you know? They got something out of this. Pile 4. What makes people insecure about Pile 4? Yeah, you're very attractive. I think that thing I said really early on is a big factor in why people feel insecure, because I think one of your great strengths is you put everyone at ease and you make everything good. So I'm not saying that you're making that many people feel insecure. But when you do, it's because of how beautiful and how delicate and how clever and polite you are. Again, it makes people feel like big, giant brutes who are just flopping around, and they just feel like they're always breaking things, and you have this delicate touch that they don't have, and that makes them insecure. And then the other portion is people feel insecure, like, did I just get, swindled by pile 4? Did I just get charmed? And I lost that interaction in a way because they charmed me and now I like them even though I shouldn't. Even though they're the wife of my enemy, I like them. They got me. That's how they feel about you, pile 4. It's like, I got because they're just the charming person. You, pile 4. So, okay, actually, you know what? That is what I got for you. I think there's a lot hidden with you, and that makes people feel insecure because you get to know them so easily, and you know exactly how to charm them. You know exactly what to say to make them laugh. You know exactly how to be to make them feel comfortable, and yet they don't know anything about you. They could never charm you unless you let them. So there you go. Okay, so now we are going to pull some music videos. I love this pile. This was such fun energy. Okay, how sweet. Write me something charming, okay? Write me a nice charming compliment. I am very easy to compliment, and you will literally make my whole day. So, I want to hear it, pile 4. Comment pile 4 and then give me a nice little compliment. All right. I do feel a little swept away by your energy. Yeah. See, and then I pull, and I split the deck, and I want to take that one, so. Okay. Yeah, there's something very fresh, and it's like feline versus dog-like, like cats are more light touch, sneaky, I don't know, like you can't hear them coming, or yeah, you have like a feline quality, and then people feel like they are dogs just running around getting dirt all over the house and causing a ruckus. And you're like looking down on them secretly. If you're not currently trying to charm someone, you're side-eyeing them heavily. Okay. What about pile 4 makes people insecure? We're gonna pick 2 more. What about pile 4 makes people insecure? And this one. Yeah, you would get Ariana Grande. I like this too because, it has this like pale pink overlay. It also takes place in 2 separate kind of locations. One where she's very casually dressed and just having fun at a motel with this new boyfriend. And then on a motorcycle and stuff like that. And then there's another scene where she's like dressed to the nines and at a fancy party. So I feel like that represents how you do great in all scenarios. The feels is just like you make people feel like on cloud 9. You really bring them there. Triggered. It's like they feel fooled by you. They feel tricked by you. At the end, she's the one with the demon eyes. So I feel like that makes sense with you too, pile 4. It's like people feel insecure because they thought they were tricking you, but you were tricking them. They thought they were making you laugh all night, but it's like you were laughing all night because you wanted to charm them. You wanted them to be happy, and you could tell that they wanted their ego boosted. Do you get what I mean? That's just an example, but I feel like that's something you could do. When you're gone is like, interesting. What makes people insecure about you? They wonder about your feelings too. Again, with this, like, you keep so much hidden that I'm getting with this, like, they feel, people who fall in love with you, they wonder if you're as into them as they are into you, because they can't really tell your feelings. So yeah, that is what I'm getting for you, Pile 4. Now, if you wouldn't mind, please do subscribe. It's going to help my channel grow. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, and I'll leave these down below. Definitely write me that compliment. You know, if you don't want to do the compliment, definitely subscribe. You know, it's one or the other for you, Pile 4. And try to tap you or something. No, anyway, have a great day, and I hope that everything is going swell for you. I don't know why this outro for Pile 4 is way longer than everybody else's, but see, yeah, your energy is just very intoxicating. Got the feels for you. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.